Like, you know, you get that kid feeling and it's just like
How old are you?
25.
Oh.
I can't be a kid.
Mm,
I can't have a kid feeling.
sure.
Want some toxic advice? If you've ever walked into a conversation and realized someone was talking shit about you to everyone else, welcome. You have just entered the messy world of triangulation. So here are some older sister tips on how to know when someone's doing this to you and how to turn it back around on them. Triangulation is what happens when someone is evil, smart, and a pussy. They want to hurt you, they want to crush you and knock you down a peg, but they're too scared to attack you directly, so they manipulate a little puppet into doing their dirty work. A triangulator can be your parent, a friend in your group, someone at work, and they will triangulate your own siblings, other friends, and coworkers against you. If you're on the receiving end of this, one of the first things you'll notice is that people start acting weird towards you, but you can't pinpoint an actual issue. Someone's clearly said something about you, but instead of hearing it directly from them, you are noticing a shift in energy from everyone else. It's weird vibes and awkward tension. It goes quiet when you try to say something or enter a conversation because someone has turned everyone against you behind your back. This is a deliberately isolating experience. It's designed to make you insecure and unsure. You are immediately in defense position and you don't even know what for. But don't worry. You'll find out, because when a triangulator is successful, they will manipulate their little puppet into attacking you. Triangulators twist your words. They share half-truths. They leave out context just enough to stir drama, just enough to take your friend or partner or family member, whoever they view as the easiest to manipulate, wind them up and set them loose on you. Now, all of a sudden, you're in a fight with a puppet, someone you didn't even know you had issues with. All of a sudden, you're defending yourself. You're fighting back. And all the while, the triangulator gets to sit safely in the shadows because no one confronts them or calls out their role in all of this because you're too busy fighting the puppet. That's what they want you to do. What you're going to do instead is you're going to break the triangle in 3 steps. Step 1, stay calm. Triangulators thrive on you crashing out because it makes you look bad and it takes all the attention off of them. That's why they're always pushing buttons and pulling levers behind the curtain. They're doing everything they can to get you to react badly. You are going to do the opposite. You are going to stay so calm and unbothered. And when you are with them, next time you catch wind of their little gossip relay, you're going to very, very calmly say, "Hey, I heard you had something you wanted to say. I thought I'd save you the trouble and come to you directly." And then you're going to smile politely and you are going to let them flounder. Step 2, when you break the triangle, you are going to do it publicly. Someone who has gone to these lengths to avoid direct conflict with you is accidentally revealed to you their worst fear and their biggest weakness. You are going to weaponize that against them because this is not a fair fight. So publicly, but calmly, you are going to say, "Hey, since we're all here together, why don't we settle this publicly?" Nothing makes a triangulator sweat more than knowing that you're not going to play the whisper game. You're going to bring everything out to light onto the table, including their role in all of this. And step 3, the easiest way to break the triangle is to break the alliance between the triangulator and the puppet. And that's very easy to do because triangulators switch up on everybody. They will throw their own little henchmen into the fire to save their own ass. So you are going to act very innocent and very oblivious. And you're going to say, "It's weird. I wonder why you didn't just come directly to me with this." And let them over-explain and expose themselves because inevitably they are going to pin everything onto the puppet. They're going to say, "I didn't know that my very deliberate choice of words was going to be so misunderstood and taken out of context. I didn't know that they were going to attack you and cause all this drama." When they pull that little innocent act and when they have broken their little alliance, you are going to act twice as innocent. And you're going to say, "Honestly, thank you so much. I really appreciate you for that. And if I was you next time, I would just be more direct because this whole situation is making you look like a shady cunt. And I don't want that for you. I'm so glad we had this talk. It's a low blow, but you're going to go there. And then the second you are able, you need to leave that group. Nothing good comes from a triangulator. These people are messy and borderline psychotic. Cut ties, trust me.
Muslim women who don't wear the hijab need to stop defending it. Every single day, it's another girl stitching my videos who's not a hijabi defending the hijab. And I'm not going to put your names and your faces on my page because I'm not your fan, but the bottom line is you were very clearly never forced to wear the hijab, so you should not have an opinion about it. You don't understand what it's like to be told that your hair is tempting to men, and that's why you should cover it. You don't know what that's like. You very clearly don't know what it's like to have your family decide what goes on your body. You don't know what it's like to have your government decide what goes on your body. You don't know what it's like to have your society decide what goes on your body. It's evident from these takes that you've always viewed the hijab as an option, something you can put on by choice or take off by choice, or something that you don't have to wear at all, which is what we call a privilege. For millions of women living in Iran and Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, it is not optional. It is literally the law. And in some cases in the West, if you have Muslim parents who are very extreme, like my family, you're forced to wear it. It's not a choice. Wearing the hijab is tied to your honor as a Muslim woman. It literally comes with punishment, both from your family and from your government if you live in any of the countries that I mentioned. It's not just a cultural thing. It's not an accessory. It's a cage, okay? A prison. I'm tired of the takes that defend hijab as if it's just some sort of symbol of modesty. It's so beautiful. Look at this precious girl. She's so gorgeous and she's all covered up so that she doesn't tempt men. Wow. And then it's absolute crickets when women want to take it off, but they get beat for that. They get jail time for that. Their family disowns them for that. Sometimes they get unalived for that. And if you avoid jail time, you avoid getting disowned, you avoid getting beat, and you avoid getting unalived, they're just gonna force you to marry some guy who's gonna force you to cover up. If you choose to wear the hijab because it's empowering for you, that is a personal choice and you are free to make that choice. And I love that for you. But just because it's empowering for you does not erase the fact that it is oppressive for millions of other women. Your personal experience doesn't overpower the experience of millions of women like myself and who are in the countries where you're literally not even allowed to open the phone and make this type of content, or else you will be unalived. They don't hesitate to unalive women who speak up in those countries, okay? Literally using your voice in public is illegal in Afghanistan, and you guys are defending the hijab? And if you love the hijab so much, then why aren't you wearing it? That's what really confuses me. How come you want to defend the hijab so bad, but you don't want to put it on? Oh, right, because you don't want to recognize your privilege. Defending the hijab when you've never been forced to wear it is like telling someone who has always been starving or hungry their whole life, and you've always had the privilege of having food to eat, telling them, oh, it's empowering to ration your food. That's insulting. What you should really be using your voice and your platform to speak on is the freedom of all women. The freedom of women to wear the hijab if they want to, and the freedom of women to not wear it if they don't want to. Unfortunately, the governments are involved in this. So you're gonna have to speak out for the freedom of women first before you speak out about defending the hijab. To be a feminist is to use your voice for the women who don't have one. That's what it means to be in solidarity. That's what it means to empower and uplift other women. So please stop stitching my videos like you have some sort of unique, profound take because you defend something that you don't even want to wear yourself.
Thanks to law enforcement's use of DNA databases, women are being targeted, arrested, and imprisoned decades after experiencing stillbirths. No, we are not making this up. Police are using forensic investigative genetic genealogy, or FIG, to access voluntary DNA databases and track down distant relatives of fetal remains found years ago. They say it's about justice for dead babies. But in reality, FIG is being used to criminalize mothers, many now grandmothers, who experienced pregnancy loss. You may have seen that New York Times headline suggesting that there's a wave of baby-killing mothers a few months ago. But if you read past the headline, it's clear. These are women with no criminal history, often unaware they were pregnant, often alone, often poor, and they lost their pregnancies. Their crime? Delivering a stillborn baby. Sometimes in shock they were pregnant, almost always alone and in agony, and not having access to medical care, support, or resources. Here's how FIG works. A person experiences a pregnancy loss or stillborn delivery. Then the fetal remains are discovered and treated as an infant homicide. The remains are DNA tested and held in a database for years, sometimes decades. Police search public DNA databases, find a distant match, then test relatives, building a case without ever speaking to the person that they're targeting. In many cases, the reason they even start the investigation is because they're relying on the lung float test, which is a discredited method of proving that a baby was born alive. FIG gained popularity for its use in tracking down the Golden State Killer. But now, police are using it to go after women, not just serial killers. People are giving their DNA without realizing it could send their own grandmothers to prison. And the use of this tech is largely unregulated and only growing. But we don't have a crisis of baby-killing mothers. We have a crisis of inadequate maternal care and a justice system obsessed with punishing women for their pain. It's time to speak up. It's time to regulate FIG.
My turn, 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 my turn.
Got some huge breaking news right now. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals has just upheld the $83.3 million verdict against President Donald Trump in E. Jean Carroll's defamation case, and the ruling pulls no punches. The court has affirmed that Trump did sexually assault Carroll in a Manhattan department store in '96 and then defamed her as president in 2019 when he called her a liar, said that she made it up to sell books, and even implied that she was too unattractive to insult. The judges noted that Trump made these statements with common law malice. In other words, out of spite and ill will, and that his denials were flatly false. They cited how his attacks unleashed a wave of harassment, including hundreds of death threats telling Carroll to kill herself, and how her decades-long career collapsed afterwards. The ruling also highlighted Trump's behavior in court. He disrupted proceedings, muttered to the jury that Carroll was lying, and even stormed out during closing arguments. The jury's $65 million in punitive damages was upheld because, as the court put it, Trump never relented. He continued calling Carroll's claims a hoax and a witch hunt for nearly 5 years, even after juries found against him. The judges said that the degree of responsibility of Trump's conduct was remarkably high, perhaps unprecedented. With this decision, Trump is now, the president of the United States is now officially on the hook for the full $83.3 million on top of the separate $5 million he already owes Carroll from another jury verdict. To continue following the situation, as I'm sure it will continue unfolding, go to the link in my bio to subscribe to the Ravenna Report.
Friendly reminder for child-free people, it is literally a natural occurrence we can track across all of space and time that when it is not safe to have offspring, most intelligent animals will not do so. When resources are scarce and the risk of dying is high, most animals will, reduce the number of offspring they have or refrain from having them entirely. So the next time a dude bro tells you that you're being unnatural because you're child-free, just remind him that fucking and creating a human life right now makes you less intelligent than a dolphin in captivity. Also, kids are fucking annoying and a financial drain that in the end is not worth it, and I say that as a parent. As someone less intelligent than a dolphin, apparently. Don't have kids. It's not safe to do so right now. Even a fucking black bear knows that.
Here are some things to keep in mind, what not to say to ICE. Unless you're a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident or have legal status, you should avoid sharing certain information that could be used against you. If you are a U.S. citizen, lawful permanent resident, or have legal status, it is imperative that you carry evidence of your status, right? If you want to avoid being detained, if you want to avoid being apprehended by ICE, keeping copies of your passport, your naturalization certificate, your physical green card must be kept on you at all times. Those of you in other non-immigrant status, you should have your I-94 with you. For all the rest of the individuals, what you really want to avoid sharing with ICE is the place and date of your birth, when you entered the United States, any criminal history you may have, how long you've lived here, information about your family. All of those details about your history will be used against you in court for removal proceedings, to physically deport you or remove you from the United States. The burden is on the government to be able to demonstrate whether an individual is removable. So by offering this information voluntarily, you're essentially making their job easier and your removability expedited.
So I just found out that I got blacklisted from the White House. So if that's the case, here's my last bit of advice. If ICE is coming at your door, if ICE is trying to break into your car, to drag you out, to deport you, ask to see your final removal orders. Ask to see your final deportation orders signed by a fucking judge. If they failed to do that, you are authorized to protect your life from invasion, your family, your pets, and your property. Number 2, ICE has built templated forms. They will trick you into saying that you are signing for an attorney. You are not signing for an attorney. That is a waiver of your rights to go before an immigration judge. They will hold you for 72 hours, get you processed for deportation, fingerprint you, and then deport you to wherever the fuck they want to put you in. Number 3, very important. If you are being followed by ICE, if you see them anywhere, don't take the chance. Get your phone, reset it, delete all your contacts of anyone that you know. They will try to use them to locate other people who are in the country blank blank. So I need you to listen to this. Very soon, there are going to be undercover employees at common retail stores that look like regular employees. They are not. Be careful who you approach in retail stores and ask for help. Those people are trained federal agents, and they will deport you if they see you entering a store. Be on the lookout. Look for drones. Good luck and stay safe out there.
So it looks like ICE is altering police databases to erase people. Like, erase people's records. Like, people who have Hispanic last names, getting rid of their social security number data, their driver's license information. So when you get pulled over, it doesn't look like you're a fucking citizen.
Behind your back, did they cuff you at all or no? Yeah, they cuffed you. So they actually took you into custody and you were...
I said it before and I'll say it again. All these people are gonna get paid. All these ICE agents detaining citizens are gonna freaking end up in lawsuits. You see, lawyers are stepping up. They're gonna sue the government because there's gonna be money in it for them. There's gonna be money in it for the victims. And you know what's crazy? They're gonna sue the government and they're gonna be able to sue the ICE agents themselves. Because the ICE agents know that they're breaking the law, okay? So they're gonna be able to sue the government, they're gonna be able to sue the ICE agents, okay? So mark my words, people are about to get paid. You better step out, you better get out there. You better protect the community. And if they arrest you and if they detain you, get a lawyer and sue.
So how do you know if your phone's been compromised or hacked by an agency such as ICE? I recently made a video explaining how they've obtained a virus, more or less, that infects somebody's phone and is able to monitor everything from their camera, microphone, texts, encrypted text, everything. But how do you know what's on your phone? Because sophisticated malware such as Graphite or Pegasus is so good at hiding itself that you can't find it in one app. It's actually in the programming of the phone itself. So a simple factory reset won't suffice. It's important to note before I go any further that unless you plug your computer into your phone and you have some forensic background in programming and coding, you won't be able to fully remove this from your phone. But here's the signs. Number one, the biggest sign that any malware is on your phone, even if it's not Pegasus or Graphite, any malware, would be battery drainage. For instance, my phone, I could plug it in for about a 3.5 hour charge and it'll be charged for almost 2 straight days unless I listen to more music at the gym. So if I would notice that my battery would actually be at 50% by lunchtime after I just unplugged it before I went to work this morning, that's a huge indicator that something's draining more battery life and sending my data somewhere else. Number two, as said, Graphite and Pegasus can both now monitor your phone calls in real time. And no program's perfect. Even though we're past the day and age of having to physically bug a phone, this is what Pegasus and Graphite can do. The biggest indication when it comes to phone calls is hearing weird sounds, extra static, little clicks in the background, maybe even sounds like some sort of radio interference where you're getting a channel coming in just faintly and you can hear other voices. That's a big fucking red flag. Number three, random overheating of your phone. It's not sitting in the sun, it's not sitting anywhere hot, but you still get an indication that your phone's running hot. That's a big red flag that something is constantly running in the background and collecting a bunch of information and then doing something with it. Number four, your app and phone in general is just acting really funny. You ever been on YouTube or TikTok or any other app and all of a sudden it just shuts down and you try to open it up and it just shuts down? This keeps happening. So you go to the App Store or the iOS store to make sure there's not an update needed, and there's not. But then you restart your phone and everything works fine. There's a good indication that something has tapped into that application itself and it's collecting all the cache, all the history, all the data, and doing something with it. Number five, a really good indication. Random redirects. When you're on your web browser, you're reading an article, or you follow a link to a different website, then out of nowhere, it just refreshes the page and brings you somewhere else. It redirected you to another server. That's a big indication that something is or is trying to infiltrate your phone. Number six, and I guarantee a lot of you have been dealing with this one, which backs up my claims that almost all of our phones are already compromised. Random rebooting. Restarting of your phone that you did not initiate. This is a huge indicator that something was put onto your phone and it restarted, and then boom, that malware, spyware, stalkerware, whatever, is now running. And last but not least, and in my opinion the most important, is random data usage. For instance, I have like a 35 or 40 gigabyte plan a month for data, but I rarely go over 20, maybe 23 gigabytes a month, because I'm usually on Wi-Fi. So if you're usually on Wi-Fi, and you know for a fact you are, but you check your data usage and it's unexpectedly high, something is definitely on your phone collecting information and sending it off somewhere else. Stay safe.
Every single time a country has stood up for its people, the United States has asked one question: who owns the resources? And if the answer wasn't us, the coup was coming. Over 80 foreign governments have been overthrown or destabilized by the United States. And no, most of them weren't dictatorships. Many of them were democratically elected, until they threatened U.S. corporate profits. The playbook is almost always the same. A country elects a leader who wants to use their land, oil, or industry for the people. The leader threatens the profits of the United States companies or investors. The CIA steps in, funding opposition groups, planting stories in the media, bribing generals, arming rebels, or collapsing the economy. A coup replaces the leader with a pro-US dictator or military regime. Sometimes it's bloodless, but sometimes it's a massacre. But it's almost always about control and not democracy. In Iran, 1953, Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh tried to nationalize Iran's oil, which was controlled by the British and the Americans. So the CIA launched Operation Ajax and orchestrated protests, paid off politicians, and installed the Shah. The result was 25 years of a dictatorship and torture under U.S. protection. In Guatemala, 1954, President Jacobo Arbenz gave land back to peasants, land that belonged to the United Fruit Company, a U.S. corporation. The CIA branded him a communist, ran a coup, and plunged Guatemala into a civil war that killed over 200,000 people. In Chile, in 1973, Salvador Allende, Chile's elected socialist president, was overthrown in a U.S.-backed military coup. He died during the attack. Then General Pinochet took power. He tortured and killed thousands. Why? Because Allende wanted to nationalize copper and improve labor rights. In the Congo in 1961, Patrice Lumumba, the first prime minister of post-colonial Congo, wanted Africans to control African resources. So the CIA labeled him a threat and helped orchestrate his assassination. A brutal dictator, Mobutu, was installed and supported for decades. In Indonesia in 1965, U.S. officials gave the Indonesian army a list of communists to kill. Over 500,000 people were slaughtered under General Suharto, who the U.S. backed for over 30 years. In Honduras in 2009, President Manuel Zelaya raised the minimum wage and questioned U.S. military presence. A military coup ousted him, and the Obama administration quickly recognized the new government. The country descended into violence, poverty, and mass migration. There are a dozen others: Haiti, Iraq, Libya, the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Brazil, Bolivia, Nicaragua, and beyond. This isn't about fighting tyranny, it's about keeping global capitalism intact. When countries try to exit the system, to share resources, to build worker power, to reduce inequality, they don't just threaten U.S. companies, they threaten the idea that another world is possible. If socialism or post-colonial development worked somewhere, other countries might follow. So they sabotage it before it succeeds. It's not about democracy, it's about defending the illusion of freedom, as long as it stays profitable. People still wonder why so many nations don't trust the U.S., why so many people are trapped in debt, war, and poverty, why migration patterns follow the wreckage of past interventions. It's because this isn't history, it's policy. And until we confront the real reasons that these coups happened, we'll keep repeating the cycle. Because democracy has never been the issue, control has.
We've been hit by what appears to be a drone and the vessel's on fire. There's a fire in the front deck. We've been hit. Where's the fire extinguisher? Where's the fire extinguisher? We have been hit. The vessel is on fire. We are off the coast of Tunis. It was a loud explosion. I was on the top deck. The police are arriving. Patty, it was a massive explosion.
Girl, you are not crazy for replaying the way that she excluded you, or the way that he turned cold, or the way that people laugh at you for simply just existing and being attractive. And that's not you being dramatic. That's pretty girl PTSD. When you're constantly being punished for something that you can't change, your beauty, you start collecting invisible scars. Maybe you've noticed you flinch when another woman makes a joke about your looks, or you overthink every time that you send a text, afraid that you'll come across as too much. You avoid being vulnerable because in the past, vulnerability has gotten you mocked, or even worse, abandoned. And that's not just insecurity, that's literally trauma. And trauma doesn't just appear because people tell you to get over it. It will live in your body, in your nervous system, in the way that you brace yourself before anyone even hurts you physically. So this week, babe, I want you to write down the one memory that won't leave you. Literally, name it. Put language to it. Because healing starts with saying, that moment wasn't okay. That moment shaped me in ways that I deserve to release. You don't heal by minimizing the pain. You heal by facing it and giving yourself permission to stop carrying it alone. That's why the Pretty Girl Survival Chat exists, girl. When you hear your story echoed back by women who have lived the exact same thing, you will realize that you are not broken. And the Pretty Girl Survival Guide will walk you through exactly how to rewire those patterns. You stop living in fight or flight and finally start feeling safe in your own skin.
I'll show you how you can make pure water out of thin air by building a small condensation device. It works especially well in the summer. The warmer the weather outside, the more water vapor is available in the air for your device to gobble up. Imagine still having this endless source of drinking water in your house, even if the tap goes dry. You'll discover how to create an ingenious rainwater harvesting system capable of storing 165 gallons of water that would otherwise just go to waste. Because the water is stored vertically, it's also pressurized by gravity, and you'll be able to use it without a pump or a siphon. This project took me about 3 hours to complete, and you could use it for a lifetime to irrigate your garden. And if you connect it to the water filter I'm about to show you, you can build this water filter in less than 30 minutes by using 3 empty buckets stacked on top of each other. The most important project you'll find inside the book is called a backyard power plant. This is an independent DIY solar energy system that's designed to keep a small fridge, TV, and a laptop running during a blackout or after an EMP. I'll also show you how to make a simple water heater that provides you with free hot water every time you use your stove. This heating coil, as I call it, can be made and added to any stove in under an hour, and will give you hot water for life. If you choose to connect it to the off-grid shower, you'll have an off-grid hot water shower. Another project you'll find inside is a recycled off-grid shower. You can make this either using cracked or damaged IBCs that have no more use, or 2 wooden pallets and a plastic sheet. Click now on that button below this video to get your original copy.
Oh, I'm not surprised. This is a global phenomenon of men joining group chats by the tens of thousands to illegally share, pictures of their wives or girlfriends, but also tips and tricks on how to essay and abuse the women in their life, their daughters, their nieces, their neighbors, right? And how to get away with it. But the part that really horrifies me is how many men are aware of these group chats, right? How many men get invited or stumble upon it and become aware and they're like, no, I'm a good man. I don't do this. But then they don't go to the authorities. They don't do anything to dismantle or stop it. How many men are aware and just like, well, not my problem. I'm a good one. I don't participate. I just don't do shit about it. And this is why when men are like, oh, no, you can't say it's all men. I'm like, actually, F you, we can. If you are too weak and unwilling to risk your own social capital to challenge another man who is violating and abusing women, and worse, indoctrinating other men into how to do it without getting caught, if you as a man are aware of that and you are not standing against it, you are not stopping it, well, then you are the problem. You are the problem, right? Men commit, 97 or 98% of violent crimes. And then when you say that to a man, they're like, that's just some men. You can't say all men. Well, you have the capacity to stop it. You have the capacity to be the providers and protectors you claim to be. But you're too weak to do it because you don't want any pushback from those men. Yeah, then it is all men. Then it is all men.
I want to talk about the new Banksy piece that appeared in London today. Now, if you didn't see it, it is outside the Royal Courts of Justice in London, and it shows a judge attacking a protester with his gavel hammer thing. Pretty much just as quickly as it got put up on the wall, it got hidden. It got wrapped in black sheets and hidden away like a dead body because the UK government doesn't want to put perspex on that one and show people that one as an exhibition because it holds them accountable to something that they don't want to have to admit to. Yesterday, almost 900 people got arrested for supporting the Palestine Action Group in London. Not only that, but this is one of the single biggest arrest days by the Met Police ever. Does that say something? I don't know. You tell me. And so this is why I think Banksy went last night and set up his piece. At a time when the UK and the US and pretty much every government is complicit in assisting Israel in their genocide in Gaza, 900 people are getting arrested for supporting a non-violent organization that has now been deemed as a, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this word, but it's been deemed as a terrorist organization, I believe. And, okay, I haven't done all the research into what Palestine Action have done in the past. I'm fairly sure they've just broken into factories, probably tried to stop the weapon sales that we are actively doing as a nation in the UK to Israel, to pretty much attack children. 50% of the people that live in Gaza and Palestine are children, by the way. And so the UK government has deemed them a bad group, so people cannot protest or support them. And it just makes people fearful of protesting. And the whole point of protesting, if it's peaceful, is to be able to say what you believe in, and that could be for good things or bad things, but the right to protest is very important. So to do this is just crazy. What is happening to our country? My country. Also, I'm seeing these St. George's flags all over the place, which is wild. The UK, honestly, is just going it's getting pulled left, right, and bloody centre. We've got politicians dodging tax. We've got politicians resigning after dodging tax. Politicians lying, selling weapons to people they probably shouldn't be providing weapons to, getting involved in things that we shouldn't be getting involved in, and not getting involved in things that we should be getting involved in. I don't know. Anyway, that's the new Banksy piece in London.